Welcome back to the Plus Money Podcast, your home for the best soccer bets in 15 minutes or less. Match day one of the Champions League is in the books. It is time to get back to the best league in the world, the Premier League. We've got a huge rivalry match this weekend. It's the North London Derby. Arsenal will take on Tottenham. We'll talk about it. We have a fun Sunday slate. No early Saturday game, which we love here on this podcast. I'm Andrew Passaro. He's Ani Sridhar. We had a great weekend last weekend in the Premier League. So come and ride with us at Andrew Passaro, at Ani323, at the Plus Money Pod. I'm excited, buddy. How about you?
Yeah, it's gonna be a fantastic football Sunday because we've got that crazy slate that kicks off at 9 a.m. on Sunday, and that's gonna lead us right into NFL. So it's gonna be a fun one. I'm pumped. A lot of big teams in action that Sunday too, not just games, but a lot at stake.
Yeah, I don't have much from Saturday. I have two quick ones from Saturday, but Burnley take on Manchester United. I think you got to keep riding with both teams to score in Manchester United games. And if you tack on over 2.5, 22 or more shots and over 6.5 corners, that's plus 127. Burnley did score on the road on Monday Night Football as they took on Nottingham Forest. And Man United were they were a shambles against Bayern Munich. They did come back in that game, but they didn't obviously get all 3 points. I do expect them to beat Burnley, but I don't exactly expect it to be pretty.
Yeah, I've got one bet from this game. I've got Man U total corners over 5.5 at plus 102, and I'm sprinkling over 6.5 corners for United at plus 190. Their corner totals so far this season in the Prem are 8, 11, 3, 6, and 8. So 4 out of the 5 games they've hit that over 5.5. 3 out of the 5 they've hit the over 6.5. So I think that's tremendous value here for a team that's gonna be on the attack, gonna try to make a statement against a bottom of the table team in Burnley.
No, I totally agree with that. And that's a strategy I actually attack a lot with Inter Miami because they always give up a lot of corners. So I love individual team corner props. I do have a couple quick ones. Brentford taking on Everton. I like Brentford in over 1.5 plus 115. And I think you can sprinkle as well. Brentford team total over 1.5 is minus 113. They lost Rico Henry, who's their one of their fullbacks, but I'm still keen on Brentford, and frankly, I'm always on the fade Everton train right now because I think this is the season that they do go down.
I've got another play here on Saturday. It's Crystal Palace money line minus 110. They're a much better team at home. We had Villa last week when they were taking on Crystal Palace. Now we're on the Crystal Palace side against a Fulham team that they just haven't looked. They're missing something. That's what Fulham have looked like, and it's why I picked them to finish, near the bottom of the table this year, not get relegated, but not as well as they finished last year. And I think this is a great spot for Palace to pick up 3 points.
Yeah, I totally agree. I didn't take anything from that game, but I looked at it real quick. I said to myself, which games am I actually going to watch this weekend? And I just don't really want to want to watch Palace and Fulham. I'm ready to go to Sunday. So we got a fun slate. Brighton taking on Bournemouth, Liverpool, West Ham, the North London Derby, and then what is it? Who did Newcastle have?
Sheffield.
Sheffield. That won't be that great. And I don't have anything for Man City as they take on Nottingham Forest this weekend. They beat them 6-0 at home last year. I wasn't really going to go dig deep for props there.
Alvarez anytime to score isn't terrible. I think it's at plus 120. I like Alvarez to score or assist, but that's minus 180, so there's no value betting that.
Yeah, that's I kind of want to stay with there. So let's go to the Seagulls. They're going to take on Bournemouth. The over 3.5. They've been listening to this podcast because the over 3.5 is minus 102. But I think you can still do both teams to score an over 3.5 at plus 122. Bournemouth have scored in a lot of their games. They haven't necessarily won, and but the overs are hitting and they're getting on the score sheet. And Brighton have a leaky defense, as well as are playing right now as we're recording in the Europa League against AEK Athens. So maybe a little bit of a rotation for Brighton, but I still think we get 4 goals in that one. I do want to point out, because I thought about putting it in. I thought about putting the over first half over 1.5 in, and that's at a plus number, but that has yet to hit in a single Brighton match, and the over has hit in every single one of their matches this year. So coincidentally, maybe a live bet on second half most goals, depending on what happens in the first half. That's definitely one to think about for that one.
Yeah, I didn't really have a go-to bet for either of these games, the Brighton game against Bournemouth or the Liverpool games against West Ham. To be quite honest with you, I do like the over call here. So I did do it. It's at -120, so not terrible odds, but over 2.5 in both Liverpool, West Ham, and in Brighton against Bournemouth. I think to get better odds, if you tack on both teams to score in that Liverpool West Ham game, it comes out to +129 that parlay, and I think that might be the way to go.
Well, I totally agree with you because I have so many things on that game that I love, so I don't know which ones to give out. But I bet it today. If you guys saw the video or you saw me on Twitter, Lask scored first against Liverpool. Liverpool have given up the first goal in 4 out of their 6 matches this year. So West Ham to score first. Yes, it's at Anfield, but that doesn't seem to matter. Bournemouth scored first at Anfield too. West Ham to score first +210. You have to take that number. It's a great number. Liverpool team total over 2.5 is a number. It's a bet that I've been running with a lot. It's in the plus number. It's +124. West Ham to team total over 1.5 is +230. That Liverpool defense today, which had Konate, had Virgil van Dijk, definitely gave up a bunch of chances to an Austrian team that's third in the Austrian league. So the idea of West Ham going to Anfield and getting 2, I don't think it's crazy. The over 3.5 is +112. That's a playable number for me. Liverpool over 2.5, over 7.5 corners and 23 plus shots, +159. I don't know if I'm going to put that in, but it's definitely playable. There's a lot I like in that game. I'm expecting a lot of goals, which means there's a good chance it ends 1-0. But let's get to the big one. Spurs taking on Arsenal. This is where all the odds are going to be. 9 o'clock Sunday morning. This one is at Arsenal. And I will say in the last 5 matches, last 5 North London derbies at Arsenal, both teams to score has hit in all 5 of those. So I do think that is something to go after. Spurs, both teams to score has been a great number for us this year. Arsenal getting a 4-0 win in the Champions League in their return for the first time in like 7 years. Thousands and thousands of days for them not in Champions League. But you know what I'm on for this game? I'm actually on the draw because it's at +320. I could see a 2-2 draw here. I think the over is definitely an option. But Arsenal have played well, but Tottenham have impressed me more. And that is because I had low expectations for Tottenham this year. But I think this is weirdly one that these two teams kind of neutralize each other. I'm expecting goals. So I do think a both teams to score draw has got to be a crazy number. But I also like both teams to score over 2.5, 25 plus match shots and over 6.5 corners, +143. And Tottenham in the draw is +110, which is that's a really interesting idea right there. But I still think it's the draw at +320.
Yeah, I've only got one play from this one, and you mentioned it. You expect to see goals, so the over 3.5 at +134 is my play here. I could see 2-2. I can also see Arsenal winning just 3-1. Like I could see the just attacking kind of style of play Tottenham have implemented this year under the new manager cause a lot of holes in the back line, which Arsenal are going to be able to exploit. So, and I think Declan Rice he's someone who's going to come key in this matchup, who's going to be able to cycle back in that midfield and kind of contain Madison a little bit, who's been excellent to start this season. The key also is Tottenham didn't have any midweek fixtures, so they're definitely going to be a little bit more well rested than Arsenal, who did play their A squad in their Champions League first game, which Gabriel Jesus did say was a warm up, which was it's kind of crazy that you haven't been in the Champions League for a few years and you're calling your first game back warm up. Maybe be a little less cocky because it's a long Champions League campaign ahead.
He's played in a lot of Champions League. Arsenal haven't, but he has.
True.
We got to give him some credit.
I guess we could say it's his personal warm up.
Yes,
because he did get back into the scoring column for Arsenal after coming back from the injury. So yeah, not a warm up for Arsenal, but definitely a warm up for Gabriel Jesus, I guess. But I like the over 3.5 here. The question I have for you: who starts in goal for Arsenal? Is it Raya or is it Ramsdale?
Man, this is all right. Everyone's making this out to be this whole ridiculous question. I don't think it's as big of a deal as people are saying it to be. You see certain fan bases that are like actively trying to get Ramsdale to come to them in January. He's not getting sold in January. He's absolutely not. I do think that if Raya starts here, that it's his job to lose, personally,
Okay.
because I think this is realistically Arsenal's biggest game of the season so far. I didn't have high expectations for Man United. And yes, I didn't have high expectations for Spurs either, but they have totally blown me away. Um, so I do think whoever starts it will be telling. I'm expecting Ramsdale, if I'm being honest, but Raya
Oh, okay.
did get a clean sheet against PSV, and did get a clean sheet against Everton. But I think the bigger question is who's starting up front for Arsenal. I think that's both of them are good keepers. Like you can't really go wrong with either. And with Martinelli out, yeah, you're going to play Trossard on the left, and he's come in and done well in that position.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but is Gabriel Jesus ready? Nketiah has been good, not great, like a solid option. I'd rather. It's like my question is how much Gabriel Jesus can you get? Because if you're only going to get like a really strong 35, 40 minutes, start Nketiah and bring on Gabriel Jesus to finish
Right.
the game. But he's got to be like, he's been getting closer and closer to fitness. Like if there's a game to start him that you want him starting in,
This is the one.
probably this one,
This is
right?
this one. Yeah. This is the one. I think he'll start. I think he'll be a second half sub to come off. He'll be the first one off the pitch, I would assume, for Arsenal. But I think he starts. I think Arteta saw enough in that Champions League fixture to be like, okay, I can roll him out for at least 60 minutes.
I haven't looked at odds for this at all, so I'm just gonna throw it out there. Um, Saka, Madison, anytime goal scorer parlay, or is it Son? I mean, I know Son didn't do much in that matchup last weekend against was it Sheffield, but
I think it's if I have to pick one on Tottenham, I think I'm going Son.
yeah, the weird thing is it's a North London derby, and this is one of those games where like you'll get like the Manor Solomon goal or something like that.
Ooh.
You know what I mean?
Son is plus 230 anytime goal scorer. He's like the highest for any Tottenham player, and that's plus 230. And if you do a little Jesus Son parlay, comes out to plus 763.
That's a high number.
If you
The
like the
goals,
over, then might as
yeah,
well.
I know. Goal scorer parlays are always they're the definition of a crapshoot, but
Yeah.
you never know. All right, guys, that'll wrap it up from us. We will not be back in the midweek. Oh, what do you got? What do you got?
Come on, my boys, Chelsea. Obviously,
Oh,
I've got
right.
one play. I've got one play. Let's not forget. Come on, I've got Chelsea money line at minus 110. They're taking on Aston Villa at home. Villa playing on Thursday in Poland. Last I checked, they lost against Legia Warsaw. It was 3-2 last time I saw, so they were in a dogfight. It wasn't a game where they had a lead and they could sub off their guys. Yes, they didn't start guys like Watkins and Douglas Luiz, who may have came on in the second half, or potentially will get the starting nod this weekend. Yeah, they lost 3-2, so that's kind of embarrassing to be honest. But that's a lot of travel to go from Warsaw to London on Sunday. It's not like it's the late game or a Monday evening, Monday night. So give me Chelsea minus 110 on the money line.
As I said to you over text earlier, I'm staying away from Chelsea games and frankly Aston Villa games until further notice. They're just I can't do it. I can't do it. I will be watching Liverpool at 9 a.m. I will try to have North London Derby on a smaller screen before I head to Ravens Colts. All right, guys, that'll wrap it up from us. For more picks, get us on Twitter at the Plus Money Pod, at Andrew Passaro, at Ani 323. Thank you guys for following on TikTok this week. A huge increase. And thank you guys as always for subscribing and liking on YouTube. We'll be back next week. There's no midweek prem. I'll probably have plays for some of the European games, but no midweek prem, no Champions League, so no early week pod. But we'll catch you next Friday for another EPL weekend. Looking forward to it. Let's stay positive and good luck.